Not all coins are what they seem. Some were spent without a second thought, yet they're worth thousands, even millions today, hidden in drawers, jars, and pockets, are pieces of history waiting to be discovered. At Rare Coins, we uncover the real value, the truth behind the hype, and the coins collectors would do anything to own. Welcome to Rare Coins. Most people look at a 1982 Lincoln penny and think it's just a regular, everyday coin worth 1 cent, but the truth is, this particular year hides a fascinating story, one that even experienced collectors sometimes overlook. And while some online posts try to convince you every 1982 penny is worth thousands, the real history is even more interesting. And knowing the truth could mean the difference between tossing away a small fortune and holding on to a hidden gem. Let's start with the year, 1982. It was a turning point for the U.S. Mint. Up until that year, all Lincoln Memorial pennies were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. But copper prices were climbing fast, and the cost of making a penny was starting to approach its face value. That's when the Mint decided to make a change, switching to a core of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating. But here's where it gets tricky. The transition didn't happen all at once. Both copper and zinc pennies were struck in 1982, and to make things even more complicated, the Mint used two different date styles, small date and large date. Combine those factors with the fact that they were made at multiple mints, and you end up with 7 different varieties for the year. The coin we're focusing on, right? Now the 1982 large date zinc is one of them. At first glance, it may not seem rare. After all, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins. But rarity in numismatics isn't always about how many were made. It's about how many survive in high grades, with sharp detail and without damage from circulation. And when you're dealing with a zinc sense, that's an even bigger challenge. Zinc is a softer, more reactive metal than copper, which means these coins are far more prone to corrosion, pitting, and spotting. That's why uncirculated examples of the 1982 large date zinc, especially in high mint state grades, are much harder to find than people think. Now, identifying the large date variety is essential. On a large date, the 2 in the date has a more curved base, and the top of the 8 sits almost level with the 1 and 9. Compare that to a small date, where the 2 has a straighter base and the 8 sits slightly lower. The differences might seem subtle, but once you see them side by side, they're unmistakable. For this coin, you're looking for that boulder. Condition is everything here. A circulated example might only bring a few cents above face value, but in high mint state, especially grades, MS 67 and above, this coin can command surprising auction prices. That's because the combination of being zinc, from a transitional year, and in pristine condition makes it a challenge for collectors who want a perfect registry set. Some top-grade examples have sold for hundreds of dollars to the right buyer. Now let's talk about the misinformation out there. You've probably seen social media posts claiming that every 1982 penny is worth thousands, or that there's a secret variety the Mint doesn't want you to know about. Here's the truth. While there is a famous 1982 small date copper penny that's worth a lot of money, the large date zinc isn't in that same rarity category. That doesn't mean it's worthless, it just means its value is tied to condition, demand, and market trends, not hype. And knowing the difference is exactly what separates serious collectors from those chasing rumors. If you happen to find a 1982 large date zinc penny in your change, here's what to do. First, handle it carefully by the edges to avoid fingerprints. Next, check the weight. Zinc cents weigh about 2.5 grams, compared to 3.11 grams for copper. If you want to know its grade potential, examine it under good lighting for any scratches, spots, or dullness in the luster. Coins that appear fresh from the mint, with no wear and strong strike, are worth holding on to or even submitting to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. When it comes to cleaning, don't ever. Cleaning a modern coin will almost always ruin its value. Even a coin that looks dull or spotted is better left untouched than polished or scrubbed. Collectors value originality, and professional graders can detect cleaning instantly. Selling a coin like this depends on its grade. Lower grade or circulated examples can be sold in bulk to dealers, while higher grade certified coins can do well at auctions or through collector marketplaces. Always research recent auction results to get a realistic sense of value before selling. And if you're buying, make sure you're getting a genuine, accurately graded example, because while counterfeiting is more common with rare coins, even modern cents have been altered or misrepresented. The 1982 large date Zinc penny is more than just pocket change. It's a tangible piece of numismatic history from one of the most interesting transitional years in U.S. coinage. It may not be the coin that headlines viral worth millions, clickbait, but for the informed collector, it's a must-have piece that tells the story of the mint's shift from copper to zinc. And that's what we do here at Rare Coins, separating fact from fiction, uncovering the real history, and helping you make smart decisions as a collector. If you're serious about coins, stick with us.